Hi, I'm Andrew from Fishing Boats NZ, and I'm going to take you through the Surtees 5.8 game fisher. So what I'm going to do is start at the back of the boat with the Yamaha 150 and just take you through the various features. Okay. On this boat we're running Yamaha F150 4-stroke, so that's the advantage of that. It's giving us a good power to weight ratio on this boat. We get 40 knots out of it. We're also getting very good fuel economy, so on average we're doing about a litre a nautical mile. So that means on this boat from Auckland we can get to Barrier, stay overnight, fish around and get back on one tank. Okay. Concerning the tank, we've got a 150 litre fuel tank down here, and that's very comfortable to cover most of the Gulf, be it Coromandel or, as I said, Great Barrier Island. We've got hydraulic steering with this. Once we get to above 115, hydraulic steering becomes very important, otherwise we're getting a lot of torque on the steering. Further down, the Surtees runs a ballast tank, so when it's run down the centre of the vessel. Okay, on each side we've got buoyancy chambers, and down the middle we've got our ballast tank. Now the ballast tank on this is 300 litres, and that gives us two things. One, it gives us very good stability at rest, like we're stopped now. But when it's rough and we're underway, we can actually lock that water in the ballast. What we need to do here is we've got a flap, pull this cord here, like that, and that will hold that 300 litres in the boat and give us a lot more punch through the sea. The biggest cavity is right up the front, and what happens is the nose feels very nice and heavy. You don't get that lightness of an aluminium boat if you're going into the sea. So that's a key advantage for the Surtees. On either side we've got buoyancy chambers. So where I'm standing is a buoyancy chamber, and that on both sides is 678 litres of buoyancy, which also makes this boat unsinkable. And that's a very important safety precaution, and just gives people peace of mind on the water. I'm just going to open up this back seat. We've got a foldaway back seat here, which one works as a seat here. They can sit, someone can sit underway, but two acts as security and protection for our batteries and also the switches. So here we've got a dual battery setup. We run a starter motor battery for the outboard and also for the windlass anchor, and we run the house battery which operates the other systems, bilge pump, Raymarine unit and various other things. So I'm just going to close that off. Also, before I go there, here I've also got a three-way switch system, so we can run a parallel system if we ever got low on one battery. Next to it here we've got a circuit breaker for the windlass. This is one is a security, so if someone that does push the button it doesn't release. But two, if the motor gets too warm, if it gets hooked on something, that means that this circuit breaker is going to release, and then we can't use our windlass until it's cooled down a bit. Under here we've got a built-in fish bin. This will also take two dive bottles that we can fit in here. We can use it for bait, and we also use it for fishing. When you catch fish, you can dump them in there. We can also release a bit of water if need be. Just by opening up that, we can put a bit of fresh water in the boat. We've got a walk-through transom here, and we've also works as a live bait tank. So we've got built-in walk-through, so that flap just pushes down. So this is great for divers. They can just push that down and walk straight through. At the same time, we've got our live bait tank, so that's just pumping in, and it's releasing through these holes at the back here. Okay. Just going to turn that off. When you're finished with your live bait tank, you'll need to drain your water off. We just release that there. fills up in the sump. But we've got a 2,000 gallon per hour bilge pump there, so it gets rid of water very quickly. So I'm just going to let that fill up a little bit more, and then we'll just pump that out. Bait station here, nicely set up. We've got 3 rod holders, alloy rod holders. We've also got place for our knives at the bottom here. We've got a drainage hole coming through here that drains out down into underneath the transom. That pumps out the back here, so as you can see by that jet, we've got a good amount of water pumping out. So if we did take a big wave over top, it's going to come through very quickly. Here we've got our side shelves. These are good for storing rods, any gear. We can put tubular matting and other things down there, but it just allows us to store our equipment. We'll put this deck grip up on the side to protect from any rods scratching the Nylec. Another thing while we're talking about Nylec, great product in the sense it stops your boat getting any marks and weather from the salt. Downside, it does get attacked by things like sunscreen and petrol, so just be aware of fresh sunscreen on it, because that will tend to mark it pretty damn quick. Up here, we've got our 6 rod holders. Okay, they pretty nice access. I'm about 6 foot tall, and I can easily grab a rod and pull it down. So it gets everything out of the road when you're fishing, but nice easy access. This here is for a sunshade, so we can actually run poles with a canvas protection, so for any sun protection there. And up on top we've got some bars that we can put any dive bags and stuff on, and then strap them down, so just clearing your decks and getting equipment out of the road. On the Surtees 5.8 we've got 2 soft rider seats. They've got a pneumatic leg on them, and that means that we get a nice comfortable ride. It sort of gives you that softness. We can adjust the height just by pulling that. We can get a bit lower if you want to, and that just nice comfortable seat there. You can also turn it around. It's a nice spot to sit down and fish from, put our legs up and have a nice little afternoon sleep. Up here with the Yamaha F150 we run 3 lens gauges. On the left here we've got fuel management. This will give us our litres per hour, total litres used, and our economy litres per nautical mile. In the centre we've got our tacho, trim on our motor, and battery voltage level. This here we've got our speed and knots, trip distance in nautical miles, and again battery voltage. VHF unit, and here we've got our windlass operation for up and down. The windlass is on free fall, so just going to drop that anchor if you want to. So it just goes into free fall. The important thing to do is to, once it's into free fall, take your finger off the button. Once she's down, then you can just wind it up. The gearing comes in and then locks it in. So that's our anchor locked in. Okay. If you're in a very rough sea, it pays to tie a small line from the bollard there onto the anchor line, so you can release tension from the actual windlass. When you're finished, it's just a case of always start your motor first, nice and quiet, and then just wind up. Comes up fairly quick. We've got 100 metres of line and 10 metres of chain on there. We're running a delta anchor. Staying up this end, we've got a nice sleeping area. We can also get sleeping extensions if need be. As I said before, I'm about 6 foot tall. This is still fairly comfortable to lie down and sleep. The extensions do help, but that's still very doable for 2 people sleeping, possibly 3. Under here we've got the electric toilet. Fairly simple operation. It's more or less a case of just pushing the button. We've got seacocks here, so make sure they're in line. One there, one on the other side, and then just pumps in. The under here, under the squabs, we've got good storage. We can put our whatever gear you've got can be stored under here. Either side. We've also got on the side here side shelves, which has good storage under here, quite deep on both sides. We've got a LED cabin light inside, same as the one that's up here. Now this has got a white light for your vision, but also a red light for night vision. So if you're underway and you want to have a look at a chart or something, you put it onto night vision, it's not going to affect your retina on your eye. This here is finally the Raymarine C127. It's a nice size, 12-inch screen. We're operating an EMR P66 transducer, which is good to 150 metres, so it's excellent for the golf. Okay. That's about it. Thanks.